Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special interview and art sale with comic artist Brian Sook today. It's a beautiful day here in Florida, so it's going to be a lot of fun doing the show with Ryan. I've had the pleasure of being on screen with him. I think it was about 9 months ago during the fall comic art live. So it's great to have him back. Today, Ryan and I will be offering 14 artworks to purchase created specifically for this art sale, along with 2 commission opportunities. More important than the art itself, the proceeds from today's sale will benefit the Hero Initiative. And for those not familiar with Hero, the Hero Initiative creates a financial safety net for comic creators who may need emergency medical aid, financial support for the essentials of life, and an avenue back into paying work. Since its inception, the Hero Initiative has been fortunate enough to benefit creators with more than $1 million worth of much needed aid, fueled by your support. It's really important that we do this. I've been a huge supporter of the Hero Initiative since I've been involved in the community, and I continue to be. And and I appreciate the fact that I know that many of you have also supported the Hero Initiative over the years, whether it's through eBay auctions, buying merchandise at shows. And as many of you know, I mean, we've talked about this a bit on the CAF updates and whatnot, that Hero isn't able to make it out to all the shows like they'd like to, as maybe they have in the past. And people have been wondering, how can they support Hero? Well, today we have a really good opportunity to do that. And I believe in my work with Jim, the Hero Initiative, will probably be doing a few more of these in the future to benefit the Hero Initiative, because again, they can't make it out to every single show, at least right now. And this is a good avenue for us to support them. So before we get started, though, I wanted to kind of go over how we'll be conducting the bidding portion of today's broadcast, because different than we've typically done in the past, the artworks that we're going to show today will be bid on versus having a fixed price for the items. And we just felt that that was the best way to raise the most revenue for the Hero Initiative, and everything will start at a very fair price. And for those of you who want to go over the price, well, we'll tell you how to do that. So here, let me go ahead with the slides here. And first up, well, actually, let's show this one for you. As many of you are familiar, we do use Third Eye Comics to fulfill all of the artwork that is going to be ordered today. And we've done that for several shows, and Third Eye is just a fantastic partner for this. They have all the art in hand except for the 2 commissions, of course. And you should check out Third Eye Comics at thirdeyecomics.com for any other information. They're an East Coast comic chain, and fantastic retailers, and do a lot of work and sales online as well. Next up here is to purchase the artwork today. You're going to place bids in the chat. So when you're to make your bid, just go ahead and put the number of the bid amount in the chat. You don't need to write the lot number. I do have lot numbers on there. That's for our own purposes, but just go ahead and put the dollar amount in the chat, and we'll register that and record it with each lot. And we'll be as fair as we possibly can. I'd rather not drag the bidding out late. So don't think about sniping. I'm not running a 10-second clock in my head or anything along those lines. If you want the item, and please place your bid as early as possible. We'll cut it off when we feel there are no more bids. And as you know, there is a lag in the chat to the live stream. So when we're monitoring this, I mean, if there's a lag and I don't feel anybody else is going to place a bid, we'll just cut it off at that point. So because you can win multiple lots tonight, I would suggest emailing Nicole at Third Eye Comics after the show, after we're done with the sale portion of the show. But if you want to email her after you've won a lot, please do so. At this, that also helps us get your contact information over to Nicole so she can handle the invoicing. But like I said, you can bid on more than one lot. If you win multiple lots, we'll combine on shipping. Just when you email Nicole, please include in the subject Sook Art Sale, and in the body of it, include the lot number or lot numbers that you've won, and also your name and mailing address to make invoicing really simple. And then finally, because the artwork is smaller today, not standard 11 by 17 or larger like we've typically done in the past, the shipping is a little bit lower than we've usually done. Domestic shipping will be $10, and international it will be at $25. And so the prices that you bid on today, and if you win, do not include those shipping and handling amounts. So, before we get started, I did want to show it. I have like a quick little video that I've had from Hero. Some of you have probably seen it before. It's only 30 seconds long, but it kind of gives an overview about Hero Initiative's mission. And it's funny, I read a lot of blog posts throughout my day, And even earlier today, I read one that was written by Arnie Fenner, Spectrum's publisher, and he was talking about Russ Heath, and really more about Russ Heath's issues with Roy Lichtenstein, as swiping his art. But the interesting thing was that Russ had put together this comic strip about how he viewed the swiping that was going on, and as part of his comic strip, he even mentioned that at some point when he needed money, Hero was there for him, gave him a $250 card to go to the grocery store. So Hero really does amazing work, and you'll see from this 30-second clip some of the creators that that Hero has benefited over the years, and again, they do fantastic work. So here, let me give you this little.
Most of the comic creators that were working piecemeal. They were working without any sort of retirement plan.
They interceded. It enabled me to get a home.
They appeared on the horizon to help me.
I think it's just great that they're even doing something like this.
Hi, I'm Stan Lee, and I support the Hero Initiative because everyone deserves a golden age.
All right, so I'll go over the bidding and stuff again once we get to that point, and but I don't want to leave Ryan in the green room any longer. So let me go ahead and swap screens here a little bit and get Ryan in here with me. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, afternoon, everybody.
Yeah, no, good afternoon to you too. So thank you for doing this, Ryan. I saw you on the list, about a month or so ago that you were going to be helping us out here, and at the time I didn't realize it was to benefit the Hero Initiative. So I'm really glad that you wanted to do this. I mean, have you worked with Hero in the past?
Yeah, anytime. I think I got involved with Hero like several years ago now, and anytime they do special promotions or books where they can auction off things like the Hellboy 100 or the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles project that they did to raise funds. I think it's just a great cause. And there's a lot of, people who have freelancers and stuff like that, like myself, who are not as adept at handling all the other aspects of business and stuff that goes into those things. And to have somebody who's there and available to help them when they get older, or even when they're not older and just need help, I think it's a great cause. And I have friends who have benefited from Hero Initiative directly, other freelancers that I've been working with while I was working with them. I just think that's a fantastic thing. It's a worthy cause, so I'm always happy to do something with Hero.
Yeah, no, same here. I've always felt like whenever there's an opportunity to do something with them, and I've gotten great experiences out of them too. Hero's really done, wonderful things for a lot of people. Not only are they helping people, but I've gotten to meet Stan Lee thanks to Hero. I had lunch with George Perez, 15 years ago. And I bid well to get those opportunities. But I mean, the thing is, so they've done, not only have they done great work for creators in need, but they've also helped really create some lasting memories for those of us in the hobby who wouldn't have had those kind of opportunities, as well. So, kudos to them for doing the things they've done. And really, even when the pandemic started, they were kind of out there early doing, talent talk stuff where they were having creators in front of collectors and doing sales. So they've always been really creative with their approaches to running the organization. And so, yeah, I mean, I've just always admired them. And again, any opportunity to support them has always been high on my list to take care of.
I completely agree. Yeah, they're great. In fact, I think right before things got locked down in 2020, the last show that I did was with Hero Initiative up in Portland. I got to hang out with Liam Sharp up there for a couple of days and sign stuff and do sketches and stuff like that. And it's always a great fun to work with them.
So Matt from Pop Sequentialism enjoys your Body Snatchers poster in the background.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Matt. One of my favorite movies.
Yep. Same here. So, mentioning shows, I mean, have you gotten out to any shows this year so far?
No. The only thing I did is I did a little shop signing with the Escapist Comics up in Berkeley. Great shop. If you get the chance to be in Berkeley, California, it's a really killer shop, which I think I was introduced to through Felix Comic Art, and that I think that's his shop. But we went up there and signed for an afternoon and stuff like that, and it was really great. There was a lot of cool people there and had a lot of fun. Just doing a small show, but other than that, I'm not doing any shows this year. I don't think. Probably next year I'll start getting back into it.
Is it just because of the pandemic or your work schedule?
All of the above, but mostly just my work schedule and stuff.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to get. I'm looking forward to getting back into seeing people in person. There's so many people that I see at shows. Some of who are commenting over here, but I only ever get to see them at shows, you know. And in fact, Kevin Sharp, you were there at the Berkeley show. But anyway, we were, I get to see those people at shows, and that's the best part of going to shows. Seeing people that you only see once or twice a year, and it's shocking how much you miss them when you don't see them for the convention season, you know.
Right. No, it's completely true. I mean, I didn't realize how much I miss getting to hang out with people in person after doing these live streams for a couple of years, but nothing replaces that. I mean, these are fun, but getting to hang out and just, enjoy somebody's company in person, whether, it's at the show or after the show, getting to hang out. I mean, yeah, there's nothing can replace that whatsoever. So it's been an interesting couple of years, but yeah. What do you have any shows that you're definitely going to be attending in 2023, or are you just kind of going to wing that based on invites and those sorts of things? I'm
winging it right now based on invites and stuff like that. I've been talking with. I'll probably attend most of the shows that I go to next year with Felix. And his crew, which is I'm actually really looking forward to for multiple reasons. I haven't met a lot of the artists on his roster just yet, and I'm looking forward to meeting them. So those opportunities are also there because, as much as it's really fun to meet fans, I am a fan too. So I get to meet a lot of the artists that I like and follow and stuff like that. It's always cool.
Well, if you get out the Heroes, that's a good show for a lot of collectors. I'm sure Felix has told you that we had a really great time this year. It was well attended by a lot of the people that use Comic Art Fans or follow us here on the channel, and it was a really great time. One of the best conventions.
It looked like a blast. I went to Heroes Con many years ago now. I think it was like 2006 or 7, something like that. It's been a lot of years, but I had a great time when I went out there, and I definitely would look forward to going out there and seeing that being at that show again, if only for the chance to meet a bunch of the creators to go to that show too. I always get stoked when I get to meet some creator. I went to a show in Las Vegas a few years ago now, I think 4 years ago, and I got to meet Jim Chung for the first time, who I'm a huge fan of and had been for a long time. So every once in a while you get to a small show and there's somebody that you've really been looking forward to just shaking their hand, say hi to, and I always like that stuff.
No, well, mutual admiration amongst creators is how can you not, right? I mean, you're a fan of the medium as well, so there's probably plenty of people you haven't met yet or had the opportunity to that you'd love to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, and I think there's another great show called Lightbox that happens now down in Southern California, and there's a lot of great artists there. And I was there the first year, and there were so many people there. I couldn't even actually meet all the people that I wanted to meet, like Lois Van Barl and Eliza, and a bunch of great artists that you can see their work all over the place now. But I'll look forward to, getting back to shows where I can get that opportunity again.
Good. So what projects are you currently working on that that are keeping you busy?
Yeah, right now I'm working on the final, at least as far as I understand it, the final issue or the final component to the Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths Batman issue, and it's got. I'm working with Cy Spurrier, who just finished doing a great image project with Matthias Bergara called Step by Bloody Step. Mm-hmm. And Cy Spurrier wrote this Batman book, and it's just straight up incredible. I'm really excited to have it come out. I'm still finishing up the last few pages of it, but it's a real departure, I think, and I think it'll, from a Batman perspective, and a departure from a lot of the stuff I've been doing for the last few years, which is a little more light. This is definitely gritty, and it's dark, and it's got a cool vibe to it, though, that I'm excited about for Batman.
Very cool. So what's as far as the way your process, I mean, do you when you're inking yourself, I mean, do you ink over your pencils? I mean, what's your standard way of approaching?
I'm very traditional. I'm a dinosaur in this age of digital capabilities. But
we like that. We love hearing about that, Ryan. We like dinosaurs.
yeah. I'm still dinosaur and loving it. The meteorite has avoided me thus far, so I still draw with a pencil on paper, and then I ink it with, a brush or pens, and I still every once in a while try and find new tools that will allow me to speed up. I did my first ever entirely digital cover this year that I drew and inked and painted in digital in Photoshop, and for a benefit book for Ukraine that I'm trying to think of the name of the publisher right now, but anyway, it'll come back to me. But they did a great book for the Ukraine, and there's a bunch of people, a bunch of different artists that contributed to it. It's a gorgeous looking project, and unfortunately, because it was a quick turnaround and a donated piece, I only had limited time to be able to contribute something, but I really wanted to contribute it to it. So I got to do my first digital project entirely, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So it wasn't something that you just jumped into. You must have been kind of practicing with it enough to feel confident with it, or?
I've been coloring comics with digital for years, probably 20 something years, when I first got Photoshop. Yeah. And, hey, Nick Barucci. So I've been working with digital for a long time, and I do a lot of design work digitally, but I still don't feel, I think there's still sort of an interface step that doesn't marry together for me just as well as the traditional material, just because I have been trained in that, mm-hmm. And you have a confidence, there's a level of confidence that goes into it. Some of my favorite artists of all times who are masters of the traditional medium moved into digital and didn't have there's no hiccup there at all. Brian Boland, or, is a great example of one of those guys. But there's a lot of guys who work digitally now, and they didn't skip a beat. For me, it skips a little bit of a beat. I still really like just the feel of working with those traditional tools.
Sure. Well, I understand. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons a lot of people make the switch, right? Is speed, to be able to get things done quicker. And, and I get that. But yeah, it always makes us cringe just a little bit when we hear, that you're dabbling in it. But the thing is, if you still enjoy working traditionally, I mean, that's where it's at the end of the day. I think for us collectors, there's so much talk in in social channels these days about AI making artwork and all these other things. It's just, I'm happy to, hear that, that many artists still prefer working digital, or, working traditionally, and don't want to have anything to do, with that side of, at least, the base creation of the comic art pages and artworks that they're working on. I get color.
I grew up in a weird time. I grew up in a time right when I got into comics, they transitioned from still hand coloring comics and hand lettering comics into doing all of that digitally. And the comic art itself, mostly line art and stuff, was still done traditionally. But, even that was a jump, for me, learning it and seeing how it was different. Mm-hmm. So when I first started working in comics, you had what they called color separations,
Sure.
And somebody would do the separations and another artist would do the hand coloring on Xerox copies and all of those kind of traditional things that were still happening. Or you'd have somebody like Mark Chiarello, painting on blue lines with these vellum layovers or acetate layovers of the line art and stuff like that. And that would be shot and printed from. And it was just a different animal, but it was transitioning into digital for color and for lettering. And I realized pretty quickly that if you wanted it, thank you, Nick. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. I will make sure that that money gets sent to Hero after we're through with the show today. That's great.
Yeah, appreciate that. And so, anyways, a lot of that transition, I wanted to get involved enough to be able to handle those parts of the job because it was going that way all the way. And if I had to do it digitally, I wanted to know enough about it to try and do it and do a good job. But the fact that I can still sit down with a pencil and a pen and draw a comic book page and have it published, to me at that time, that was 25 years ago. I'm shocked I'm still able to do it. I'm thankful and grateful I still get to do it. And I like it because I like to go to, there are some artists that I have to admit that I thought were traditional, and then I found out they were digital and I was shocked by it. And then there are other guys that I thought were all digital and they're traditional. I'm totally shocked by it. So I don't really, as far as the quality of the work, when it comes out and when it's produced, if it looks good and it works, I'm all for it. I don't care if it's digital, or I don't even care if it's AI. I've seen some of the AI Mid-Journey stuff, and I've seen some of the inquiries about it and stuff like that. I'm blown away by it myself. My first reaction to it is like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And then my second reaction is, that's so amazing. I'll never touch it, but it's amazing to see it, and,
right.
and I like that. At least I like the conversation back and forth. There's a great artist on Instagram. If you haven't seen his work, his name is Killian Ing, E-N-G. He's a great artist, kind of in the vein of Mobius to me, along with some other European influences and stuff like that. I don't know anything about him besides his artwork, but he's great. And he did a great little spot on his Instagram that dealt with Mid-Journey and his experimentation with it. And I think he had the same reaction. I'm not really going to use this ever, but it's I had to find out what it was all about. I don't know. To be honest, Bill, I thought that, Skynet would have taken over by now, and it would have been, we'd all be, but I'm glad we still get to have traditional art.
No, I am as well. So, and I'm not familiar with Killian, but I'll look him up though. Yeah, I saw some interesting commentary from Dave McKeon and a few other creators as well. Again, it's good. Things like that it's good to kind of challenge us all on what, on our beliefs on what is art and whether or not it's something we feel we would ever use. I think it's good for everybody to at least be aware of it, that it's out there. But at the end of the day, there's something, so soulful about the traditional artwork that even like you were mentioning when word balloons left. I mean, so many of us who collect original art really miss the word balloons. I mean, it was part of the process. I mean, we when those went away, I mean, that took away a real important part of what makes us collect original art. I mean, we're there for the sequential storytelling, and it's always disappointing when the word balloons aren't there. I mean, there's some collectors who make their own overlays just so they can appreciate the artwork and the story that it came from, not just the images. So yeah, I mean, but with every advance in publishing and whatnot, there will always be things that get taken away. I guess that's something we can't deny is out there. But as long as we have people who still prefer to work digitally or traditionally versus digitally, then we'll all be happy and we'll all have something to collect in the future.
Yeah, I completely agree. I actually, when it comes to original art, especially, it's a real rarity to see hand lettered boards these days. And anytime you do, it's phenomenal. I think Matt Lesniewski, who does, he just did Crimson Flower, I think it's called, came out of Dark Horse, and he does The Freak. His book is stunning, and I think it's hand lettered, if I'm not mistaken. It's definitely traditionally done. And it's just a joy to see the things together because, like you said, in times past, prior to digital lettering, the art and the lettering were a marriage of, they came together. Mm-hmm. They worked together. That's why I think that's why so many of us artists and creators and collectors love Alex Toth's work and stuff like that for so many reasons, because it's such a unity of these two elements that tell the story working together. And to some degree, I do really miss that. I'm always like, I've got my fingers crossed that one time I'll get the chance to work with Kevin Nolan so I can have him ink something and possibly letter the thing on the boards, like that's been my dream for ages. But I like seeing his pages when he did the Hellboy pages and hand lettered them and stuff. And there's just something, a real treasure about that.
Mm-hmm.
Really
Have you told Kevin?
Oh yes, he knows full well. Probably not enough times, but I've definitely checked into a couple opportunities of trying to get to work with him. One of these days.
Well, that would be pretty cool. I mean, Kevin's amazing, obviously. So getting the opportunity to work with him like that would be, probably a dream come true in some ways.
Definitely. I think the closest we got, although it was just when I was doing Legion of Superheroes with Bendis, we got. Thanks, Max. When we got to do Legion of Superheroes, I didn't get to draw the page that he did for us, but he did a great page for us in one of the issues, just as a kind of we had a whole bunch of artists contribute to one of the issues to save my butt because I was so late. But it was great to have him in on that, and see his version of Dr. Fate that I had done the design for, and to see him draw that was just like, that's just, I don't know. It still freaks me out, every once in a while to see somebody that you're just like, dude, I can't believe he drew something. I did the design for it. So it's amazing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of artists, especially when they're doing a project that's kind of their own, and then they get other artists whose work they really admire to contribute to a book. It's just, they get blown away by other creators' interpretations of work that you put a lot of time into. And if many of those artists who are also collectors, they want to own it. They want that artwork too, because it's just such a unique moment. How often would you get to have somebody like a Kevin Nolan, for instance, work on a character that you designed and make it a real finished piece? I mean, at the end of the day, if I was the person who created it, I'd want to own it. I mean, I think a lot of writers probably, and I know a lot of writers collect as well. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like the opportunities that they have to work with artists that they've always, cherished in one way or another. I can't see how they wouldn't want to collect and have a piece of their stories come to life by creators whose work has just, transforms it really.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I think I've gotten the opportunity over the years to ink over Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and he's brilliant. I got the chance to ink over Neil Adams. I got the chance to ink Mike Mignola years and years ago on just a couple of panels, which was cool. And I got Mike to ink a little bit of drawings that I had done. So there's like weird opportunities that have come up in comics, and that's part of the fun of that traditional thing too. I mean, although I even got to help out a little bit on a page working with Yannick Paquette when we were doing Action Comics with Bendis, and he was out of town or something, and they needed a patch for one panel, and I said, well, I'll do it, if you want me to. And they're like, he said, oh, okay, yeah, I can't do it, I'm out of town. So I got to ink a little digitally on Yannick, one panel of Yannick's art, and thank God no one noticed, because I probably did him a real disservice, But he's one of those guys, every once in a while I look at a guy like Yannick and I think, that you can only do that digitally. You could only do what he does digitally. And it's so gorgeous. And the truth is that's not true. It's an excuse, because the guy can draw like crazy traditionally. And he did all that stuff before he went digital just as well. So like you said, it's a challenge to anybody working traditionally to see those things and sort of look at it and think, they're doing it because they can do it digitally. Not true. That stuff, if you want to do that stuff traditionally, you can. And he's a great artist. There's so many guys. Gosh, it's good stuff. So
you have a long list of people you'd love to work with, I imagine, then, right?
Long list of guys that I'd love to work with, and that I have worked with, and I've been really happy and lucky to work with. So yeah, it's weird floating around in the comics world for a couple decades. You get a lot of opportunities to work with great writers, great artists, and as an original art fan and creator and collector, I like seeing the originals and stuff like that. I like the ability to see, I I don't know, there's a value in seeing an original piece of art that doesn't always come through in the print. Sometimes better, sometimes not as good, but always interesting to me to see the difference between. I remember a great collector who really, just as a favor to me, brought me aside at a show, and he had the original artwork for Marvel, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Oh, wow.
And he showed me the originals that John Buscema did for that book. And it's just, I mean, that was like that was a thrill just to see them, the originals. I mean, that stuff, when I was 11 years old, I was copying that stuff left and right. So, you know, it was really a thrill to be able to see the original, and shocking to see how clean some of those originals were, especially being used to the printed version and knowing that they were penciled and it had to be reproduced in the way that it was in the 60s and so on. But to see the originals and just how clean and just astonishing stuff. Really cool.
I've got my copy around there somewhere. But no, was it Brian Peck, by the way? Because I know he has a lot of art from that. Yeah, he's very fortunate. I mean, he's a big Buscema fan, but yeah, I visit his calf gallery a couple times a year just to look at those, because they are amazing. I've never seen any of them in person.
Oh yeah. I was thrilled when we found a quiet spot at a convention one time, sat down somewhere in a booth, and there was no one around, and I got to flip through all of them, and it was just like, that's what's great about convention. I mean, that's not going to happen everywhere. It's definitely not going to happen every day. And it was just a cool thing to see. Yeah, huge Buscema fan, but not just Buscema, but that book has a lot of, you know, weight to it in my experience growing up as a comic book fan and wanting to become a comic book artist. And in fact, I still have it very handy because I still refer to the perspective section frequently because my mind doesn't work that way, but it's very beneficial.
So you mentioned you collect, and what is your most prized piece in your art collection that you have?
Oh, my most prized piece in my art collection that I have.
You can name a top two if it's easier to do that way.
I have a very cool piece from Marshall Rogers that I really like. And it wasn't a published piece. It was a sketch that he did, and he didn't do it for me. He did it for someone else. But I have that, and I think that's to me a classic thing. And let's see, gosh, what else do I have? I have a grand piece of art from George Barr that he painted. That's a beautiful painting of like a gremlin, a very gorgeous fantasy piece of art. And I have some wonderful stuff from Mike Kaluta that I got years and years ago too. Because when I think I still cherish those probably amongst anything that I have, because they were the first things that I ever got. When I went to San Diego, when I was the San Diego Comic-Con, I was about 17, and I went down there with my best friend, and we had saved up just to go. It basically killed our budget just to go to that show and attend the show and stay at a hotel down in San Diego and eat nothing but, a shared platter of taquitos a day. That was it. That was the entire. But Kaluta was such a great guy, and we hung out at his table for ages, and he had wonderful preliminary drawings for all kinds of stuff. And it was reasonably priced, $5, $10 and stuff like that. And to me, I look at that stuff now and it's like treasure. It's like artifacts from some, bygone age. And I have a beautiful pair of door knocker faces that he designed. And I think he designed them for, hi, Rick. I think he designed them for a Sandman cover that he did. And they were just the designs, and they were like a small part of this really huge, intricate thing. But I have the original sketches and designs for those door knockers, and they're gorgeous. It would be great to be able to find some artisan that could turn them into actual door knockers. But anyway, yeah, I have lots of cool stuff like that. And to me, as a kid, that was a cool thing to be able to go to a convention and actually come out with original Michael Kaluta artwork in my portfolio. I never would have thought that would happen. So
at 17, were you planning or hoping to become a comic book artist, or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why you were looking at the art too. I mean,
absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I got my first portfolio in San Diego from William Stout, who is a genius, of course, and a great artist and stuff. And I think back on it now, it's overwhelming. The first year that I went to San Diego was I think the only year that Frank Frazetta attended. And I was 15 minutes in the door, we bumped into this booth of original paintings of his and stuff that were everywhere. And I was just drooling. I was like loving all of the little tissue paper studies that he did for his major paintings and all these great collection of originals I was just floored and totally just amazed. And my friend that was with me says, "You think that's crazy?" He said, "Turn around." I turned, he's standing right there, right behind me. So, and he talked to me, Frazetta did. And he talked to me for like a long time, and really, really nice guy to me, at least as a kid. I was really shocked. And I ended up sitting with him at his table for a little while, ended up meeting Simon Bisley a few minutes later, who came by. They were doing Verotic stuff at the time. And Bisley came over and his gigantic hand like swallowed my hand and just like crumpled it into nothing. He's huge. He's a really great artist as well. So I was blown away and had a great time that year. And I also got to see, like I said, Bill Stout and Mike Kaluta and Neil Adams and a whole bunch of, just a bunch of great artists that I'm really glad I got the opportunity to meet and talk to and learn from. And I did show my portfolio to Kaluta, and I showed it to a whole bunch of other people, and I got some good feedback from them and mostly learned there was a lot to learn, but I had a great time doing it anyway. So invaluable advice.
Oh, that's awesome. See, I love getting to talk with creators just to see what your early experiences are like, in the hobby. I mean, that's totally cool. I mean, I've never got to meet Frazetta, and even all that time I was in Ohio and probably about four hours or so from the museum there, I never went. And now I want to go. It's like now I'm feeling like sometime next spring I'm going to make a trip because I lived in Ohio all that time and never did it. So I've seen a few Frazetta originals, but at your when you were there, that had to have just been just a wild moment to see that and then to hang out with him for an hour. Yeah,
no, it was totally shocking. I remember we were walking around in days after that. I mean, the rest of the show was like kind of a blur. That was really a huge highlight. And he was telling me, he said, I was painting in acrylics at the time and spray paint, trying to do Bisley and stuff like that. And I was trying to, do line art like Frazetta at the time and everything. And he said, "Why don't you use oil paints?" And I said, "Well, because they're kind of scary. I mean, I've played around with them. They're really daunting." He said, No. He said, "Oil paint's the best." He said, "If you're messing up, you don't like it." He said, "Just grab a rag and wipe it off. You end up with something better than you thought you had in the first place, and then you just paint over it."
Right.
Like, so.
Well, he lived by that. I mean, he definitely modified a lot of published pieces that were out there numerous times. Sometimes to their benefit, other times, maybe not. Who knows? But at least he kept, he did his own thing, right? He just kept at it until he was happy, or he just had to quit.
Yeah, he did. And he was one of those guys. I think the reason he's such a, it's sort of by comparison to most comic book, maybe even fantasy artists and illustrators and stuff like that, his canon of work is fairly small by comparison to many others who are so prolific. And I don't think it's because he wasn't doing stuff all the time. I think it's because he was really particular about what he was going to let come out, Mm-hmm. And if it came out and he wasn't happy with it, like you said, he'd just rework it, until he was. So yeah, he was a unique and a real special artist, and still one of my all-time favorites. It was a real thing to get to meet him.
Sure. You probably didn't get any photographs, right?
No, there was no such thing as a cell phone at the time. Right. And if there was, I definitely didn't have one. I mean, I'm sure they had those brick-sized things at the time, but no photos. I didn't get any photographs with them or anything like that. But
well, you have the memories. Now we've got them, so that's good. Yeah, that is why, I really miss cons. It was just
Yeah.
having those opportunities to have those experiences. It just I had Daniel Warren Johnson walk up to me at San Diego just saying thank you for CAF and the things you've done over the last couple of years. I mean, how cool is that to have somebody really appreciate your work? And
Yeah.
I'm not an artist, but but the same kind of experience. I would never have had that opportunity for him to come up to me and say that if I wasn't at a show. I mean, shows are so important to our hobby, and they're I mean, again, those are the things that you never forget.
No, absolutely. I mean, and I love CAF for that reason too. And I'm glad Daniel Warren Johnson said that to you, because he's a great artist. And I'm sure, like anybody who does this as a craft on a regular basis, it's such a pleasure to every once in a while be able to go on there and look through galleries and see somebody who's done something. In fact, I did a piece for the through Felix for the the day, I can't remember her name now. It's slipping my mind. The Carol Day project.
Carol Day, right? Yeah.
And I had never seen any of the Carol Day strips before CAF, and when I found them on there, and it was just through digging around, and something came up, and I said, "Oh, that's pretty. What is that?" And I clicked on it, and I love them. And it's a brilliant thing to be able to go on there. I got to see on CAF, a great Batman story by Frank Robbins that was never published. Someone's got collected, and it's phenomenal. And to be able to find those kind of things and see them in a form that was totally different than print and all that kind of stuff. Adam Hughes's sketches, I think when I first found Adam Hughes's pencil sketches and convention sketches on CAF, that was mind blowing to me too, because I had never seen any of them, and half of them, this is a personal opinion, of course, but half of them are far beyond anything that I'd ever seen him do in the comics. I mean, they were just so full of his own personality, character, style, unencumbered by any of the strictures or requirements of comic book medium. So to see those things was just like, wow, gosh. So, and the fact that they're still all there, and to be able to go on CAF and look for something, look at Kevin Nolan's convention pieces, because they're phenomenal. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll tell you, CAF, as an idea, really came about because I wanted to see more convention sketches. There was a site out there for a long time that only allowed collectors to share 5 pieces of art at a time, and they'd always either share the stuff they were selling or their 5 best pieces. They'd never show the convention sketches. And early on, I was more collecting commissions and convention sketches than published pieces. And so I wanted to see those, and there was no place where anybody was sharing them. So, the CAF was kind of born out of of my desire to have a place where people could post those types of things that they might not normally share, because, in their mind, they were inconsequential, right? Or they weren't as important as their Neil Adams, Batman piece or something. So,
Sure.
But yeah, that was a big part of it, because I did. I mean, and I to this day, I love the getting convention sketches and commission pieces, just because they're fun. Usually those are the pieces the artists have a lot of, like you said, they're unencumbered by a storyline or whatnot, and and it's a good time. And usually with those things as well, you get to have that experience of buying the artwork directly from the creator, and and that, again, nothing replaces that. I mean, I think that those, even for people who only buy 1 or 2 pieces of art throughout their their time as a person who loves comics, I think that those collectors always remember that experience. They always want, say, whether it was Kevin Nolan or or anybody, that they're just like, they love them enough to ask them to do a sketch. I mean, I think that's just it's really, really, really cool. But they'll always remember the interaction that they had when they talked to him about why they wanted him to draw a Batman or something. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and every once in a while you just get a real, I don't even know what to say, a masterpiece every once in a while. I've seen some sketches, convention sketches, like by Bill Sienkiewicz or something like that, and you're just like, that's not a sketch. It's not really a sketch. I mean, it's just, this is some kind of mind-bending work of art that just happened on the spot. But like you said, it's also more special when you get to stand there and see it created right in front of you. And, or, you open up some book and they did something on the flyleaf that you just kind of go, wow, how in the world did that really magic? It's like magic, it really is, to go to a convention and see some great artist create something like that right on the spot. I saw when I was at Heroes, they have their art auction. And I remember the year that I was there, maybe it was San Diego now that I think about it, that one. Kaluta had done some great, huge shadow drawings for auction in charcoal. And the year that I was at Heroes, Adam Hughes did this painting with pastels and acrylics or whatever. Like, they got a pile of art supplies there. You know, this great big painting of Catwoman and Black Cat, you know, together. And, you know, they auctioned the thing off for like 16 grand because it was gorgeous. It was really a cover quality, great piece, you know, painting that I shamefully remember him creating in a really short amount of time. And, but it was just a beautiful thing. And it's like magic to get to go to a convention and see somebody create an original piece of art like that. And just, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, Heroes is good for that. I mean, they have a stage where some of the artists will actually do their work, and so you can watch them, you know, in process over the course of the weekend before they do the auction. And yeah, Heroes is just a lot of fun. I mean, Shelton has done, just a phenomenal job with the show, and but the auction is always a highlight. And so we'll hopefully make it next year. That'd be great.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going.
I'll hide from the auction stage though, because, you know, no, but I remember watching Andrew Robinson do a Conan painting at that show too. I was just, you know, it's so cool. He's another guy who's just a great artist. And if you ever get to bump into him at a convention, go and talk to him and ask him questions and stuff. He taught me, this is years ago before I knew anything about anything, but he walked us through some process that he did on a lot of his Starman covers, a friend of mine. And I learned a lot. You know, you went to art school. I didn't go to art school, so I never got to learn a lot of these different techniques and stuff that people have done. But it's been a lot of fun to go to conventions and, you know, pick the minds of such great talents and learn stuff. So yeah, it's fun.
Well, listen, we've been at it for about 45 minutes. I think, we've got a lot of people here who are interested in picking up some artwork. So we can carry the conversation on while we're looking at pieces that are available. And one thing I'll let everybody know too is that I wasn't sure if we were going to work on if Ryan was going to work on the commissions while we were live, and so he's not. He's going to do them after the show, and he'll be shipping those over to Third Eye as well. So if anybody wins one of the commission opportunities, the two that are available, and also picks up one of the other pieces, you'll be able to combine on shipping for that. It's just that the commissions that Ryan's going to be doing will probably go out, early next week, and they'll have them at Third Eye before the end of the week. So,
right.
you may not get those until the following week, but anybody who gets a piece of art today and pays within the 48-hour window that we want you to complete the payment on, those will be shipped out early this week, Monday or Tuesday, and you'll have them before the end of the week. You can put them in your CAF gallery by Friday. So that's always the intent or hope we have here. Let me see this one thing from Rick. What did he say? Bill, Tatiana, we're good friends. She convinced me to join CAF back in 2006 to share my convention sketches. Yeah, exactly. That's I'm glad for that, Rick. I mean, Tatiana has been a huge supporter of CAF, just like Felix. I mean, I've been really fortunate that a lot of people really enjoy what we've done there, and just encourage other collectors and new collectors to use the site. So thank you, Rick, for doing that, and Tatiana too. So just to kind of reiterate, we are not going to be doing fixed prices on these pieces tonight. This afternoon. It's all going to be with bids. So what I'd like everybody to do is just put your bid amount in on the artworks. Now we've basically got some of the pieces starting at 150, and then the larger pieces at 250. So, keep the increments easy for us to follow. $10, would be better. And like I say, we're just going to wait till I think it's over, and I'll call it. And you don't have to email Nicole immediately if you want to wait until the end of the show. That's you're more than welcome to do that. But Nicole at Third Eye Comics is going to be handling, invoicing you. And payments are done through PayPal, I believe, and so you pretty much are open to using whatever credit card types you may have with that. But when the show is over, if you have won any of the lots that we show off today, definitely, and I'll keep bringing up Nicole's email as well. But you want to shoot her an email so she can get you the invoice out right away after the show's over. So do that. And again, if you have any questions throughout the show, you're more than welcome to ask me, and I can help out with that. But so Ryan did agree to do a couple of commissions, and I told everybody we were gonna do those first. So the two things that you'll be doing them on, Ryan, one of them is one of the coasters right here. I'll actually let me make you full screen here so everybody can see. The coasters are 4 by 4 inches. They've got the hero logo on them as well. And then the I think it's like 6.5 by 10 is the hero board that he has in his left hand there.
Yep.
And those are the two pieces that we're going to be auctioning off for commissions. And so when I'm going to I'll pull up each slide so you can see them. You don't need to mention the lot number. Just go ahead and put the your bid amount in, and we'll just kind of roll with it. So the first one that we are going to show today will be for the coaster commission. And again, you get to pick the character. I'd say, just thinking about it, I guess either tell us what the character is that you want, or you're more than welcome to either email Nicole afterwards, or you can email me, bill@comicartfans.com, and I can relay that to Ryan. So however you want to do that, or state it in the chat, I'll be happy to make note of it here for Ryan so he can work on those after we're all done here today. So commission a Super Sexy Mario. Well, Samuel, if you win, you can commission a Super Sexy Mario if Ryan is up for that kind of a task. So all right, so let me go ahead and show, and with these first two we're going to do the commission opportunities first. There will be example images with them, so you'll be able to see what the type of work is going to look like. And these are pieces that are going to be auctioned off after this as well. So let me go ahead and show the first one here. I'm calling it Lot A. Don't worry about mentioning the lot in your bid. But so the starting bid on this will be $150. This is for a 4x4 coaster. Hero coaster commission opportunity of your choice. Now, with these, Ryan, these are all painted. Is there? And I know that the other pieces are more pen and ink. So, is that a choice just because it's the coasters are heavier?
On the coasters, it's going to be a painted commission just like these ones. And on the coasters, for me, first of all, it's a small enough thing that it's an opportunity to paint. And I don't always get enough time or something on a larger piece. Secondly, because the coasters are very porous and they're used to soak up water, they take to the paint really well. So
sure,
even better than just a pencil or ink drawing on the coasters. The paint works really well. So yeah.
Well, that's good. I've seen a few of these at shows. I've not gotten one myself yet, and the bid's at $225 to Nick Warmack.
Thanks, Nick.
Right now. So, but yeah, I kind of had a feeling that was why that they can definitely take a little bit more medium than the illustration boards can. And that's true. In fact, the Hellboy one that you see there has that's spray paint and acrylic, and I think a little bit of ballpoint pen. The other two are mostly acrylic with a little bit of ink used as well. So it'll be done in that sort of a fashion. Very, very nice. So, Matt's saying, why did I never get in touch with Ryan for the annual coaster show? I don't know. That's a good question, Matt. Now you know. All right. Well, let's see. I was almost thinking we were going to call it, but Rick has raised the bid to $250 for the coaster commission. Thank you, Rick.
Yeah.
And Nick for your bid earlier as well. Well, that's good. I think that I think that on a 4x4 space, that's you're packing a lot in there, and it's been a trend of in the past several years of these small art. I guess I wouldn't call them gallery shows and that sort of thing. A lot of galleries they do these shows like once a year where they have smaller pieces that are smaller than say 10 by 10. I'm sure it allows them to hang a lot more pieces at once. It makes them more affordable, so they tend to sell well. And I think it's fun. I've actually picked up a lot of art from gallery shows or things that like Facebook groups that have art sales like that when they do these small shows, because you can always get 2 or 3 pieces and they're really, really nice, and the artists tend to put a lot of time into them as well. So so Nick is our high bidder of the moment. I think we should call it, Ryan. What do you think?
That works for me. Thanks, Nick.
All right. So 260 to Nick Warmack. Thank you so much.
Let me know what character you want too, Nick. I'm guessing Supergirl. I'm guessing. Just let me guess. I'm guessing it's a guess, but I'll go with whatever you want.
So you've sold artwork to Nick in the past?
Nick and I have been friends for ages, probably longer than I don't know exactly when, but he's been a friend for a really long time. In fact, he built a website for me when I didn't know how to do such a thing, and so Nick's been a friend for a really long time. And so, yeah, that's exciting. And I appreciate that too. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. And Hero Initiative appreciates it as well. So we'll go ahead and show the second commission opportunity. This is for the 6.5 by 10 inch illustration board. So we're starting the bids at $250 on these. These are examples of pieces that we're going to have for sale. Actually, they are the only 6.5 by 10 pieces that we have for sale today. So you're getting a preview of these lots already. But again, these are a bit larger. A lot gives Ryan a little bit more freedom to do a bit more character work on these. So yeah, I mean, I was very impressed, Ryan. I'm not a DC guy. I hate to say it, but the Batgirl in particular was amazing.
Oh, thanks. Thank you very much. These boards work really well for a commission sketch of this type. But they're nice and sturdy and big enough to get a real, a figure shot on there that's kind of dynamic and stuff. So it works out well. Thank you, guys. Wow. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that.
Oh, and we're up to 550 as well from Max Machado. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
But yeah, these definitely turned out really nice. I mean, again, that just shows, Ryan, that you know how much you care about making sure you're doing something great for Hero, and and again, the money's going to the Hero Initiative. Super great cause, and I appreciate the fact that you're willing to take time out to do something like this, and I'm sure I know they do as well, and and the fans do as well. We're up to $650 on this one.
Wow, thank you guys. Yeah, that's really appreciated. It is for a good cause, and I'm happy to be able to do something that you guys are. Wow, you guys are amazing. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
we'll do something nice for you, and don't forget to let me know what character you'd like. However, but
yeah, whether you state it in the chat or you end up emailing Nicole or myself, we'll be able to relay that to Ryan after the show or during the show. But it looks like that's another. Let's see, Poop Kid has gone to 800 as well. Well, Max Machado is at 850. Wow. Well, again, the thing is, Ryan, you haven't been at shows in a while. Commission opportunities don't happen too often, and, at least these days, right? So, that's kind of these opportunities that we've done with the live streams have been really gratifying to me, because I know that it's made, some really good opportunities for, original art collectors when they might not have the opportunity to get out to a show, and I think that's why I think these kinds of shows have, they're going to be around, in one fashion or another over the next several years. And TTAT is now at $900.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. Thanks. You guys are awesome.
Yes, at $950 now. So I do feel that. I think that, because back in the day when I was just getting started collecting, I didn't get out to a lot of shows. I mean, I didn't go to San Diego. Hero was my first big show that I probably went to about 3 years after I started. I was only able to get to, I went to Chicago, like a Wizard show there in the late 90s is one of my first shows when I was collecting. And so you just can't get out to all the shows where a lot of the artists are going, right? I mean, yeah. You get a lot of European artists that make it to New York that don't go to San Diego, and so, again, every show is kind of regionalized in a lot of ways. So you don't get to meet some of the collectors that you really want to, or some of the artists you really want to get pieces from.
Yeah, it's true. And I think, wow, thank you. Wow. You guys are awesome. That's going to be a great, I really appreciate those high bids. It's going to be a great donation for Hero Initiative. Yeah. And I agree, Bill. It's a cool opportunity, because I don't travel too far, even when I do go to shows. I'm mostly a West Coast guy. Early on, I did some East Coast and like I said, Heroes and some other shows in the Midwest and the South and stuff. But for years, mainly since I've had kids, most of those guys. So that's it's really a good opportunity, not only to get some chats, but wow, to get some great bids for a good cause like this. So that's cool. Thanks, you guys.
And Will K is currently the top bidder at 1,250.
Wow.
So yeah, this is no, fantastic, everybody. Thank you for these bids. We sincerely appreciate it. And now we're up to $1,300 on these.
Wow.
Let's keep it going. Well, I didn't intend to stay too long on one thing, but I mean, if the bidding's there, I want to make sure that we were able to get Hero what we can get Hero. So yeah. But so let's see, Big Canary, you're amazing. Well, Buzz is telling you you're an amazing artist, Mr. Sook. Your ability to change style several times over the years and be on top of your game at every change is awe-inspiring.
Thank you, Buzz. I appreciate that. I really do. Wow. Thank you, T-Tad. That's really cool. Yeah, it's wow. Poop Kid too.
I should have started the bidding higher, I guess, but I had no idea. But no, thank you. Yeah, Ryan. Again, it's the fact that you were willing to do this. I talked with Jim McLaughlin, a couple of weeks ago, just saying, if things go well, I hope that we're able to do more of these, because it was, we figured we've been doing these live streams for a couple of years now and having selling opportunities throughout, but we've never done anything really distinctly for a charity of some kind. And as much as I've been, I've worked with Jim. I mean, I've done some of the shows with him and worked with him on just having some of the creators come out, but we've never really focused on something that was directly benefiting the Hero Initiative. So I think we're onto something here that hopefully I'll be able to offer more of these types of shows in the future with other creators that have donated their time and talents to Hero.
Yeah, definitely a good thing. And I'm kind of amazed right now, but I'm really happy about it, because so I'll look forward to creating these commissions for you guys.
All right. Well, we're at $1,800 right now, and I think we've been looking at the art here for about 5 minutes. If anyone else has a bid that they'd like to place, I would say do it now. Otherwise, we're going to call this one at $1,800 and move on to the other 14 pieces that are pre-done that we have available as well. I want to make sure that we have the time to show off those pieces as well. So I'm going to count to 5 in my head, and if we don't get any other bids, Poop Kid, you will have won this one at $1,800. And Ryan, you should talk to Felix. Maybe he doesn't do too much commissions, I think, through his site. I mean, they're rare, because I know many of his the people that he reps are always very, very busy. So commission opportunities don't really happen too often. But yeah, I'm going to call this one for Poop Kid at $1,800.
Cool. Thank you, Poop Kid. Really, really excited. Thank you.
And I called it, right, and I did call it before T-Tad's 1850 came in. So T-Tad, I did give enough time to everybody to kind of come in with that, but I do have to call it at the 1,800. And I knew that was going to happen, at some point. But we did offer the time. But T-Tad, I can tell you that there will be other opportunities in the future, and we do have some other pieces that we're going to be looking at here that are equally as good. And Ryan, hey, we might be able to end up doing another one of these in a few years down the road. So these opportunities, will be out there. But thank you, T-Tad, for trying to raise the price on that one a little bit for us. So as far as just reminding both Nick and Poop Kid, either I would say email Nicole. Nicole, let me just go ahead and show her email address for you. So I would shoot Nicole at thirdeyecomics.com and CC me, Bill at comicartfans.com. Let us know which character you would like Ryan to draw, and we will relay those to Ryan right after the show, and he'll get working on those and get them completed. So thank you to the both of you for winning the 2 commission opportunities that we had available for today. It was fantastic. Hero's going to be very, very happy, and they are going to be appreciative once they find out how well these did.
Definitely.
So let's go ahead and get on to the lots that we have, the 14 pieces. So what we're going to do is we've got 5 coasters, we have 6 sketch cards, and we have 3 of the 6.5 by 10 illustration boards that that Ryan has pre-done. And the coasters and the sketch cards all start at 150, and the illustration boards start at 250. So I'm going to go ahead and show off the first of the lots that we have available. And again, just worry about putting the dollar amount in the chat. So this first hero coaster is for Batman. It's again, these coasters are 4x4, all just recently created by Ryan for this Hero Initiative benefit, and the starting bid is 150 on this one. So is Batman a favorite character, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I think most of my favorite artists of all times did some great Batman work and probably made a huge impression on me because of that. I was always more of someone to follow the artists than the storylines or anything like that. But of course, when I was, I think about 11, Dark Knight Returns came out, and that had a huge impact on me as a kid. I was blown away by how amazing a comic book could look. But then, even prior to that, Neil Adams' Batman stuff had a huge impact on me, and Frank Robbins, like I said. And but yeah, so I think that's what made Batman such a great character to me, was that I saw so many great artists do such great things with him. And yeah.
Nope, I agree. I think when Dark Knight came out, I mean, just the format of the book kind of changed the game. I mean, I wasn't reading DC at the time, but I had to buy that because I was just like, wow. I mean, a comic book can look this slick, and be presented in such a manner like that. I mean, it made you want to buy it. So
yeah, definitely.
I was super impressed with that. And but Gabe Carino, just so everybody knows, is the top bidder. I'll always highlight the top bid while we're showing it off. But $250 is the top bid on this one, and we haven't had another bid in about a minute here. So if we don't get another one, we'll just call it for Gabe. And like Mr. Easy Go Lucky just said, it's an awesome Batman. And Vin also commented that it's amazing art. So thank you both for those nice words about Ryan's artwork here. You got a little splatter on this one too.
Yeah, yeah, and it'll hold your coffee cup.
But you shouldn't do that. Put it in a sleeve. Put it in a portfolio. But yeah, really nice. And so, is this acrylic? I mean, I should have asked. I mean, what's
it is?
You're painting?
Yeah, it's acrylic and ink, and it really actually will hold your coffee cup. The acrylic makes for a nice.
Oh, that is true. You are right. I still wouldn't recommend it, but is there original Sook coffee stain with it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Did you actually use it out before you painted on it, Brian?
I leave the coffee stains for the buyer, the collector, But no, that's cool. And thank you, Gabe. I really appreciate that. Thank
you very much, Gabe. That one's going to you for $250. And like I mentioned, anybody who's winning these, you can email Nicole right now if you like, or if you want to wait till we've done all 14 pieces so you can see if you won more than one, you're more than welcome to do that. I just, be sure by the time the show ends, that if you did win any of these, to email Nicole so we can get those invoices out right after the show. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next lot here. This is for the Black Canary. Again, this is on a hero coaster and 4x4. And as we know, you can actually set your drink on it now. But this is a good one. And and nice colors, complements the blue on these hero coasters. I think the first set of hero coasters actually weren't they done with a green, I think. So they switched to blue at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, and we've got the first opening bid from Rick. Thank you very much at $200.
Thanks,
just
Rick.
Ahead of Will K's as well. So I'll leave Rick's up there. First one in gets their bid placed if they're the same amount. Oh, and Matt says that Bags Unlimited actually has a self-adhesive Mylar that fits a 4x4.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I did not know that. All right, and Will K is at $250 for that.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah,
Black Canary, one of my favorite characters in the DC canon. I always liked her. I think I really found an affinity for the character when I saw Alex Toth's famous story about Black Canary.
Gosh, yeah.
She's a cool character.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Toth's work on her is just was amazing, right? Yeah, and I think it's funny. I have actually never owned anything by Toth, even those small doodle pages and things that he has. As much as I love him, I mean, I've got to correct that, because he's just a master.
Master. And she's got it's her 75-year anniversary this year, Black Canary, which seems kind of impossible almost, but cool character. She's fun.
Right, and I think you've actually incorporated that into the larger drawing, the 75th anniversary. All right, I was just about to call it, and then I saw Steve Eng has put in a bid for $260.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you very much, Steven. But yeah, I had a feeling that you had an affinity for the character I knew that anyway, Ryan. I always try to do a little bit of research and things on convention sketches that people ask, from particular artists before I do interviews with them. And, you can tell, I mean, that's a popular character of yours, that, Zatanna as well. But to highlight this, Will K's at $300.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah, without question. So that's it. That is an inside joke, Marcus. Thank you. the Dave Bollock version. We had we do that Dueling Dealers show, and there was some Black Canary artwork on there that just made everybody laugh. So it was done by Dave, but it was a good version of Black Canary. So bid currently from Will is at $300. If we don't get another bid in a few seconds here, I'm going to call this one at $300. And if you don't get this one, there are other Black Canary opportunities just around the corner here before we end the show. And all right, I'm going to call it. Will K.
Thanks, Will.
Is the winner on the Black Canary. Thank you so much, Will. All right, that's a good one. Going to a good home as well. So let me take that one off. And so these next two are kind of famous monster things. I mean, what was before we show them? I mean, and I'll show them consecutively. What was are you always a fan? I mean, of that genre?
Yes, I think the classic Universal monsters are just always, I don't know, they just resonate with me since I was a kid. I remember going to the library when I was a kid, and there was some black and white collection of books at our local library that were just sort of short and condensed versions of the Universal films with black and white stills of those, and I'd sit in there and just look at those over and over and over. King Kong, Dracula, Frankenstein, and all of those things. But The Bride is probably one of my favorites of all time. She's just a classic design and character, and any chance I get to do a sketch of these guys, I take it.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and show them. I'm going to show Frankenstein first.
All right.
Again, this is on a 4x4 coaster. Starting bid is $150. And I grew up on, Universal Monsters too, from those, Friday night shows after the news was over, watching guys, do funny shticks in between showing them. And I loved seeing those books as well as a kid, where they would have like the actor behind the scenes, with the makeup artists around them, because those were just so cool. I mean, it was, because I would have been looking at those in the late 70s, early 80s. It was just such a neat thing to be able to see how they, made those movies and see the actors, half in costume or whatnot. It was just always, kind of a thrill, right? I mean,
yeah, definitely. Yeah, for me, I mean, I think the horror genre in movies and TV and comics too, because I, as a young kid, I always followed artists more than stories, but I remember the first comics that I really wanted to read the stories were Bernie Wrightson's horror comics. His collection of stuff that he did in the creepy and eerie Warren magazines. And anytime he did anything, I had to read it, because the artwork was immediately hypnotizing, but the stories, he brought me into those stories, and so they were. So they were very cool. But Frankenstein and all of those characters made incredibly interesting to me. And plus, my dad, since you mentioned the late night movie things, my dad was actually the host of a local late night horror movie TV series called Dr. Dead Time, and he would introduce the horror movies of the late hours back in the days when I was just a kid. So he dressed up like a vampire and everything, drove around in a convertible Cadillac,
Awesome.
cape flying out the back, and
Yes, we regularly get spammed on the channel now that we have so many followers and whatnot. So you just do your best to ignore it, and I block them when those HD webcam people pop in there. So yeah, what are you gonna do? it's the problem with becoming popular, I guess. Oh, and Will K has put 150 on this one, but yes, thank you very much. Well, that's funny because that was kind of the inspiration for a lot of the stuff that we did on with Dueling Dealers. You know, I grew up on a show called Big Chuck and Houlihan in the Cleveland area, and you know they would take 70s songs and do just goofy skits to them, and you know play them as 10 to 30-second clips in between commercial breaks, and then they would be the hosts, right? And so it was just funny, and that was really what when we came up with the concept for that show. It was based on watching Goulardi and shows like that. It was just fun. I mean, it made me laugh as a kid. You know, and so
definitely. They used to have all these wonderful. We lived in the Bay Area in California, and my dad hosted a show, and there was all these great really terrible B style, low budget indie horror TV series that I remember coming around when I was a kid. Like there was a show called Monsters that we used to love to watch. That show, it was hilarious and a lot of fun. And to have my dad who introed those shows as a real character.
I mean, I'm totally jealous. my dad was just a welder. He didn't host a show like that. So no, that's totally cool. Well, that one's going to Will. So we can keep talking about this while we show the next piece, because this is the Bride of Frankenstein on this next one, and again, it's on a coaster 4x4, but yeah, no, I'm really envious because I love those things. It was great in the Cleveland area. We had Big Chuck and Houlihan, and later Little John on Friday nights, and then Saturday around 11 a.m. was a guy called Superhost. And same kind of thing. He didn't really have skits, but he was dressed like a Superman clown, and it was. But the cool thing for me was he let people would send in, kids would send in their drawings, and he would have them on a wall behind them. And a couple times throughout the show, he would pan. They would pan up and down, or to show all the drawings that would come in. So I'd send him pictures of Godzilla and Mothra or whatever, because that was what I was into, and it would just be so cool to see your artwork on TV, right? So but again, I just loved I love that stuff, and we don't have anything like that, at least I haven't seen anything shows like that in the last several years to host things like that. But that's where I learned to appreciate horror films and good comedy. Yeah, 43, you got it. WUAB channel 43. Superhost was awesome.
Nice. Thank you, Will. That's rad.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, everybody. That's true. That's weird. I haven't seen anything like that in ages, and it was always a lot of fun. We had a thing called Chiller Diller in the Bay Area that was very cool, and this guy would introduce the shows, and it was always some crazy. In fact, even some of my favorite horror movies, I think Halloween, isn't The Thing playing? They were always watching horror movies and stuff. It was great fun. Great fun.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But yeah, I grew up on all that, and I fondly remember those the skits and the fun things that they would do just to make for entertainment.
Totally. Yeah, it was cool. My dad was the art director at the TV station, and so he ended up designing sets, and I think KTVU Creature Features with Bob Wilkins. Very nice. Right. Ron. Yeah, that's right. Good stuff. That's cool. KTVU. That's what we were. My dad was on KICU, channel 36 in the Bay Area, and he was the art director there for years, and so I got to go in and help him, paint news studio sets and all that kind of stuff. In fact, I learned a lot of things from going to work with him as a kid when he was doing those things. He created TV guide ads and stuff all the time, and we had a good time. I had a good time learning stuff like that. Very cool.
Very, very cool. Well, Will K has gotten this one as well at $150. Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will.
So now we're up to 2 times I've had to block the HD cams. I set a record the other night, Ryan, where I had 5 times I had to block them throughout the show. So
nice.
I don't want to set another record tonight. All right, so let me go and hide that one there. We're going to move on to the next lot here, and this is the final coaster. This is the Hellboy, again 4x4 coaster. You already mentioned mixed media on this one, so it's acrylic, and what else did you use on this one?
It's acrylic spray paint and acrylic paint and a little bit of ballpoint pen, I think, on the darker parts there. Yeah, I was inspired by Ben Oliver, who uses spray paint to sometimes do his paintings, and I thought I'd give it a try. So that was my first. This is the first time I've used acrylic spray paint. I've used spray paint before, but acrylic spray paint, I had never used it before. But Liquitex started producing stuff that's compatible with their other acrylic paints, same colors and tones and stuff like that, which is really fun. So that was my first chance to get to use it.
Well, that's interesting. You did it outside, I imagine.
I did. Yes, I did.
Like,
but you'll probably still smell it when you get the original.
I've never used
actually, it's not
acrylic.
regular spray paint. It's good stuff. But it was, I did do it outside. It was fun.
Well, we got a high bid from Justin Porter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Justin.
Mark Levy says it's we always talk about birth pages, his first appearances and whatnot. So this was a birth technique artwork for you, Ryan. As you're experimenting with something new. Right.
Yeah, it's true. In fact, I've gotten a few new recent additions to the tool caddy here lately. Learning getting some good stuff, getting some good tools and stuff that I haven't had the chance to use before. But I like the spray paint; it was fun.
So do you get when you're thinking about using new techniques or tools? Do you get inspiration from other artists, or is it just you're at the art supply store or the hardware store? You see something that interests you, and then where do you draw most of your inspiration for stuff like that?
Yeah, spray paint. Yeah,
that's
too.
Not good, Mr. Easy-Go-Lucky.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I used to do, I'd use clear coat on sprays on stuff, and my wife would come in and the house reeked of fumes. But anyway, I try to do most of that stuff outdoors these days. But I get inspiration from different places, either from looking at and seeing some other artists doing something, like I mentioned here about Ben, who's a great artist, and he uses spray paint as an sort of an underpainting technique, and then paints on top. And he's of course a master at it. But it was a fun thing to experiment with. But also, just from art store advertisements and stuff. I don't have any art stores near me, so I don't actually get to go to the art store anymore. I order everything online. But every once in a while I'll get an ad and I'll just be like, oh yeah, that's kind of a good idea. Plus I have 2 young kids, and they get different art supplies from school all the time and stuff. And every once in a while something will come through that I'm kind of like, I wonder if I could use that. So I've gotten I just started using to spot some blacks, some Pentel water brushes that they work out great. So I'm pretty excited about that because they spot blacks really nice.
They should send you that stuff for free. Yeah,
right. Well, they fill it. I never would have thought about it. They're just meant for watercolor painting, but I filled it up with some FW acrylic paint or ink, and it works out really good. Thank you, Justin.
Yes, thank you very much, Justin. And just making a note of it there. All right. Well, that's we appreciate that, Justin. Again, all of the proceeds today are benefiting the Hero Initiative. That's why we've got their web address on the screen as well. So for those of you not familiar with Hero, you should go over there and you can learn a lot more about them and what they do with the funding that they get. They definitely help out creators who may have medical problems, if they have housing issues, if they just need some money to get them through a rough patch or whatnot. Hero is there for those creators. They have a board that helps them decide whom and how and where they allocate their funding, but it's a cause worth giving to if you're a fan of the hobby, which we all are. All right, so that was the last coaster. So we're going to move on to the sketch cards now. And so this first one here is, we've seen a Batman earlier, so we're going to see a Batman now. The starting bids on the sketch cards are $150. They're your standard sketch card size, 2.5 by 3.5. And this one, you did use a little bit of paint on this one, it looks like.
Those are marker, yeah, marker and watercolor marker just for the spot colors. Yeah, yeah. I love my Stabilo watercolor markers. They've been handy for a long time. Thanks, Rick.
And Mr. Easy Go Lucky's in at 188. Thank you, John. I met me. It's so fun, having done these for a few years. I met Mr. Easy Go Lucky at San Diego Comic-Con, and it's so cool. These people who I've not had the chance to meet in person, but they've been in our chats for a couple of years. So thank you for that, and thank you, Rick, for getting things started.
Indeed.
And you've already said Batman is, you're following in the footsteps of a lot of creators that have done lots of great things with the character.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. My experiences with Batman. When I first started working years ago, I got to draw Batman in the Spectre a couple of times, and it was Batman, the classic Batman version of the character. What I consider the classic Batman version of the character. I know different people have different opinions and stuff, but he still had the, the spotlight on his chest. He was the classic sort of Neil Adams version of it. And ever since then, I've been able to draw Batman many, many times, and hardly ever in his traditional or classic look. It's almost always been a redesign, an alternate version, a version where Batman is never in costume, stuff like that. It's been an unusual experience with Batman, my ability to work with Batman over the years. So every once in a while, it's just fun to get to draw him in that classic way.
Sure. Well, we haven't had any other bids after that, so I'm going to call that one for Mr. Easy Go Lucky at 188. Thank you for that, Mr. Easy Go Lucky.
Yeah,
you've got a good sketch card there.
Yeah. And thank you, Mark. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Okay, let me highlight that. My Soul Sook page has Batman and the Spectre together. Oh, that's awesome, Mark. Mark has an amazing collection on CAF. If you ever get a chance to check it out, he's got a good eye. So
very cool.
Yeah.
Spectre number 3. That's right. I remember drawing those pages. Probably a water tower in there, maybe something. Some rooftop action. I seem to recall.
All right, so let's go ahead. We'll show the next one here. This is a Black Canary sketch card, hero sketch card, of course. You got the logo on there as well. 2.5 by 3.5 inches, like all the rest. And starting bid will be 150 on this one. So, like everybody's been doing, don't worry about the lot number or anything like that. If you just put your bid in the chat, we'll follow it that way and highlight it as we go. Thank you, Michael Patrick Sullivan, for getting us started there.
Indeed, thank you.
Sorry, I'm looking at one other thing here, but so with, like we talked earlier about Black Canary being a popular character, for you. Do you like revisiting characters that you've, in story, titles that you've worked on in the past, or as a creator, do you feel like you like new and different challenges with in terms of the characters and maybe even the writers that you're working with?
Yeah, I always like always like a challenge or something new. Try and bring something fresh to it. But there are characters that I just always like to go back to and revisit from time to time, either because I have a new inspiration about them or feel I could bring something better to it than I did in times past. But Black Canary, I've always I don't know why, but I've just always had an affinity for the character. Like I said, I think it was probably Toth's influence early on, but I've had the opportunity to draw her in print several times over the years, and she's just kind of a fun character. She's always hanging out in the background, seems like, of everything that I've worked on. But I've liked a lot of the different incarnations of her over the years. I even liked the I even liked the Amy Wu New 52 version of her where she was a punk rock singer of the band. I was kind of hopeful for that one, but it didn't really last long, unfortunately. But yeah,
you would have been okay with drawing that version of the character.
I have drawn her.
Oh,
yeah.
you have? Okay.
Yeah, I've drawn her. I did that version on just as a convention sketch, but I've drawn her several times as convention sketches. Yeah, that version too. The classic version, I think the only one I've never done, I think the only version I've never done was, let's see, was the Justice League International version where she was sort of wearing the pale blue and black version, the Kevin Maguire version, I think.
Right. Well, so I think we're going to stick with Steven's bid if we don't get another here in the next couple seconds. Caius Julius said, Ryan, you're such an amazing artist. Thank you for your art and for your help to the Hero Initiative.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate that, Steven. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Good bids for a good cause. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, and Matt said the headband. Yes, that
Yeah,
was
the headband.
that
Right.
was the version.
That's right.
All right, Steven, you've got this one. So, and lead us to close this, close that. And just as a reminder, so, like I said, email Nicole. You can do it during the show or, but definitely before the end of the show. If you won multiple lots or single lot, email Nicole and let her know which lots you've won. Include your mailing address as well, so she can get the invoices out to you, pronto, as soon as the show is over. All right. And yes, let me move on to the next one here. Now we're going to do a couple Marvel characters consecutively. And first up is Doctor Strange on this sketch card. Again, standard size sketch card. Starting bid on this one is $150. And have you ever had the opportunity to do any published work with Doctor Strange?
No, I don't think I don't think so. I've gotten a few opportunities to do some Marvel work over the years. But I don't think Doctor Strange landed in that small window. But I do like Doctor Strange, and I always liked him when I was young. And there's another return to Kevin Nolan when he did his. I saw a famous, probably his most famous painting of Doctor Strange was just "Thank you, Rick." Is still just a classic, That
I'm trying to think where
he's kind of conjuring up this little feminine fairy out of some mystical, magical, bowl of mist or something like that. It's just an outstanding painting. One of my favorite pieces of Doctor Strange art. Thank you, Ajax. Appreciate your kind words over there.
Yeah, that was very nice.
But
that's something, back to talking about cons. I mean, the ability to, as a con goer, to involve your family at times. I mean, early on when my son was old enough, I started taking him to cons to, kind of get him into the swing of things. I've taken my daughters when they were old enough to appreciate it as well. So, that's why cons, I love conventions. And I love being able to do stuff that involves your family.
Yeah, definitely. I've gotten to take my girls to, well, the youngest is still pretty young, so only one show she's been to, but my eldest daughter, she's been to a couple now, and it's so much fun. I mean, getting to see the people in cosplay, and I remember she was amazed at seeing the functioning R2-D2 rolling around and Darth Vader with the troopers walking through the halls and stuff like that. I mean, it was a gas. It's really fun to see the kids react to those kind of things,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For the first time, and takes you back to childhood. I'm appreciative of my dad for taking me to the cons when I was young.
Well, yeah, your dad seems pretty cool.
He is a cool guy, but yeah, he took me to Time Con. I remember. I think that might have been my first convention. Was a Time Con at the San Jose Convention Center, and Arthur Adams was there. And he was still very new to comics at the time. I say very new, it's probably a few years, but he was pretty new to comics at the time. And I was already a huge fan. I was just talking to Nick about this the other day, but huge fan. And I remember watching him draw, sketches of Storm from the X-Men and stuff like that. And it was just like, it's burned into my memory.
Sure. Well, Rick Inquest, you've got this piece for $150. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rick.
Really nice Doctor Strange there. So let me switch over. We'll go ahead and highlight the next one, another Marvel character. Let me get that right image here. Here we go. So this is Magic. She's on the standard sketch card size, 2.5 by 3.5. Starting bid on this one is $150. But now, did you get to do any work on X-Men related characters? I mean,
I've done a couple of covers for X-Men over the years. Yeah,
that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember what were the books from. Do you remember?
I think they were. I did one X-23 cover that I got to do, but the other covers that I did were straight X-Men title covers, and for the main series. I don't know if they were variants or B versions or something like that, but X Factor I did work on. Thank you, Chris. How could I forget? I did get to work on X Factor for a very short period of time with Peter David, and I had a lot of fun doing that and designing all those characters and stuff like that. Yeah. But Magic, of course, comes back probably because of Arthur Adams again. He did the Asgardian Wars miniseries, and I fell in love with all those characters when he was drawing them. I thought that stuff with Chris Claremont that he did back in the 80s just astonished me. Still does, actually.
Yeah, no, without question. So Rick wanted to confirm that. I hope there's a Zatanna card coming up. There is, actually. You'll see that in short order. A couple more after this one, but this I've always been an X-Men fan. I mean, that's when I first started getting commissions and collecting published pieces. I was just focused on X-Men and a little bit of Thor, but I've diversified since then. But my first 5 to 8 years of collecting was just totally focused on the books, the book I loved, right? So I mean, I couldn't see past that when I was buying original art, but
sure. Well, like Matt just mentioned, the X Babies, all that stuff. Art Adams kind of owned it for me at the time, but when I was young, it was about X-Men. I mean, Dave Cockrum and Mark Silvestri's run on there, and Bill Sienkiewicz with the New Mutants and all that stuff. I mean, when he started doing painted covers on New Mutants, that was another kind of a groundbreaking thing to see happen. And always loved that stuff. Lasting impact.
So, hey, we haven't got a bid on this one, but I will tell you that, when I spoke with Hero, we wanted a sellout today, everybody. So if you're not, I'll tell you what, I will show this one afterwards. We'll do like a little recap of the pieces that are here, and we can talk more about, what's available, if anything else other than this one. But I want to kind of keep things rolling along because we've got another X-Men related character for the next one here, and that's Weapon X, very angry Weapon X, as he always was. This is on a sketch card as well. This is the second to last sketch card that we're going to be showing. And Pop Sequentialism, was that 150 on the other one, or was it on this one? I wasn't paying attention to the chat, but I see Seth has also offered 150 on the Weapon X. But Pops, hey Matt, let me know. Okay, well we're already past that then. I can. But Matt, let me know if the 150 was for the Magic. Oh, okay. So Magic was claimed by Pop Sequentialism at 150. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, Matt. All right. So we got the Weapon X here, and Samuel Rojas is the high bidder at $180. Thank you for that. And also thank you for Seth for getting this one started off for us as well. I mean, when you think of Weapon X, you always think of Windsor Smith, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's something else, man. I mean, that guy, he really did some classic material. When I was young and I saw the studio book, I still love it. That was one of the few art books I didn't share when I moved, because it's just a classic piece of right here. Got it right here, actually. This book right here. And still, it's actually signed by all of the artists.
Oh, you're holding it up. I was just going to show you holding the book.
Oh, yeah.
I got the same one. Yeah, that's one of my favorites, too.
One of my favorites. And it's signed by everybody in it, with the exception of Jeffrey Catherine Jones, who I never actually got to meet. But it's a classic book, and I love Barry Smith's stuff ever since then. But I always thought of him as that studio artist doing this fine art type work. And then when he was doing the stuff that he did with Marvel in the 80s, Machine Man, Iron Man, Weapon X, the X-Men stuff that he did, and I mean, good grief, he brought these characters into a sort of a level that in my opinion, I hadn't seen him have prior to his touch in those characters. So
yeah, that X-Men story, Life Death, was always one of my favorites. I mean,
amazing.
the things he chose to work on, he just knocked out of the park. I mean, so yeah, his work's just incredible. But I'm going to call this one for Samuel Rojas at $180.
Thank you, Samuel.
Thank you as well. So we've got 4 more pieces to look at. One more sketch card, and as Rick had seared earlier, it is a Zatanna sketch card, and again, 2.5 by 3.5, and starting bid is $150. So I assume this is a character you don't mind revisiting?
No, definitely not. No, in fact, I thought she was a character I didn't really know anything about until I did the series with Grant Morrison. And Grant is not just a great comic book writer and creator, but he's also a real, thank you, Rick. He's also a real comic historian and knew a lot about the character and imbued a lot of that information into the scripts that I got from him. So I had a great time. Learning about her and drawing her, and she's become a great character to draw.
Well, yeah, without question. 7 soldiers, right? That's right, Anthony.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I've always appreciated Morrison's writing. I mean, so it must have been pretty fun to get to work with him.
It was, yeah. I really liked working with him on. I've worked with him on a couple of projects. That was probably the biggest one that I think I got to do with him. But yeah, it was a treat. The first script came, and I remember not really understanding what he was talking about. The way that he writes, he was talking a lot about magic stuff, and he spoke about it as if I knew anything about it. I had no idea what he was talking about. But thank you, T-Tad. And he wrote great scripts and fun stuff. And by the second and third issue of that, in fact, I think the second or third script that I got from him for that miniseries was probably one of the best scripts I ever got the chance to draw. Sometimes you want the script to come out just so that people could know how good the script is. I mean, the comic itself is one thing, but that was a great script that he wrote. Really great writing.
Does he give you a lot of art direction, or does he really give you the freedom to kind of tackle it as you see fit?
That's what I mean. I think it varies almost from issue to issue and from scene to scene. He would, in certain instances, say, go crazy, do whatever you want. And in other times, he would actually draw sketches and send them along and say, I'm thinking something kind of like this, and he's a talented artist in his own right. So yeah, it worked out really well working for him. He's a great writer, a great guy to work with.
Well, very nice. Well, we're at 180, and I think we can probably call this one at that. Peter Rowe had a question for you. Have you ever drawn the Black Canary green costume from the start of the Birds of Prey comic series?
No, I haven't. In fact, I don't know as I've even seen that.
I'm not familiar with that one either. All right. Well, we're going to give this one to T-Tad at $180. Thank you so much, T-Tad. That's your first pickup of the day. You've been in the chat since we got started here. Thank you so much for that. Hero appreciates it, as do Ryan and I.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to move on to the final 3 pieces. These are all done on 6.5 by 10. So we'll go ahead and highlight the first one here. This is the Batgirl that, it's just a phenomenal piece. Again, it's on a hero board, so it's got the the little hero logo faintly in blue printed down there in the lower left. And this is on 6.5 by 10. Starting bid on this one is $250. And I've got a bid from Pop Sequentialism. Thank you, Matt, for starting us off. I appreciate that.
Thank you. Wow. Thanks, Marcus. Wow.
Yep. Sorry, I'm not highlighting these fast enough. There we go. It was Marcus at 500, and then Matt back at $600. So yeah, this is just a great image. And it's funny, you were talking about perspective from the Marvel book earlier, and I was looking at it, I'm like, I was wondering how you approached the background on this one, the cityscape. Did you just kind of fill it in? You drew the character first, of course, and then you were like, is that what was your approach on this? Because there's a guy and I that we do on a show on the CAF Update where we talk about art, and we talk a lot about technique and whatnot. So on a piece like this, did you know going in you were going to draw the cityscape, or did it just feel right to do when you got done?
When I'm doing sketches like these, you sort of feel it out as you go. And but yeah, I always like the idea of sort of seeing Batgirl or Batman looming over the city. The idea of that city behind them just brings a little depth to the character and the piece. Yeah, and you can be as abstract as you can in a situation like this, and it still seems to come across. So,
right. Well, I love the pose of the character on this one. Having her arm up and just leaving the board like that. I mean, it's just a nice composition overall. Creative approaches are really what I look for when I'm trying to pick out a piece of art that I want to buy or whatnot. And this one just screamed it. The fact that the way her cape, you chose to leave it as bright as possible behind her to kind of accentuate the outline of the character there. I mean, it just there's so many different ways you could have done it, but every artist kind of applies their own creative view on how to tackle certain things. And yeah, I loved every aspect of what you did here on this one.
Thanks so much. I appreciate it, Bill. Yeah, it's thank you, Pop Sequentialism, too, for the bids. You guys, Batgirl's another fun character for me to draw. I've liked drawing her. I've gotten to draw her in Pride. I did a series called Arkham Asylum Living Hell, and there's one of my favorite issues of anything I ever drew was in that series with Dan Slott wrote it. We created a bunch of rogues gallery characters for that particular series, one of which is Humpty Dumpty, who's been in the cartoons and the video games since that creation of that series and stuff. He's a great character. And there's a whole sequence, the whole issue with him and Batgirl that was just a treat to draw. And she's been a favorite ever since. So, yeah, I really like to draw Batgirl and come back to her every once in a while.
Well, I can tell you put a lot of care in this one. So Matt from Pop Sequentialism is our high bidder at $675. If we don't get another bid in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and call this one at the $675 mark. So yeah, thank you for everybody who are interested in this one. It's a looker, as they say. So all right, I'm going to call it at $675 to Pop Sequentialism. Thank you for that. Literally. Well, I did call it, didn't I, Ryan?
You did it.
Yeah. All right. Because I'm looking down, writing Pop Sequentialism's name in there when I see JC Dutchy come in. But I have to stick with the fact that I said it before I look down to start writing it. I apologize, JC. And that's we had this one up there for a little while. See, now everybody of course, everybody's gonna throw a bid in after I say it's got to be over. But I got to call it. I called it. I got to be fair, guys. I mean, trust me, there will be other opportunities. I mean, I know we want to raise more money for Hero, but I got to kind of follow. Right, Ryan? I mean, help me out here, Ryan.
Yeah, I appreciate the bids, and I'd love it. Yeah, I'd love it to keep it going. But I think once we have it called, and we got to kind of stick to it. So
because this is tough, guys. I hate to disappoint anybody, and I feel like I'm letting Hero down more than anything because there are higher bids here, but we were sitting at that 675 for quite a while. But there are two more pieces. So Pop Sequentialism has picked this one up, and I sincerely appreciate it. And JC and Pat. Just try to get him in earlier. I mentioned that at the beginning of the show. I'd rather not wait, like you're trying to snipe us on here. It's a little difficult. You have to remember we're about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of all of you. You're seeing this on a stream, after the fact. So it makes it it's a bit challenging when I'm, but that's why if I wait 20 or 30 seconds after what I think is the last bid, I think that's more than enough time to be able to say we're calling it. So, all right. So we've got 2 more pieces to look at here. And this is the next one here is the Incredible Hulk. And again, it's on 6.5 by 10. That's the hero board as well. And we're starting the bid on this one at $250. And, what more can you say? I mean, now the Hulk, everybody loves the Hulk, and we've got a lot of, there's like 5 or 6 really big Hulk collectors on CAF. I mean, as far as like an old, and one of the major characters from Marvel that's been around forever. I mean, it's understandable why everybody likes either to collect the Hulk or probably to draw him, right? I mean, just gigantic mass of anger and rage.
Yeah, he's a great character. I mean, I still love the Kirby version probably. It's my favorite probably, but thank you, Max. But there's so many people who have done such great stuff with Hulk over the years. It's ridiculous. I love what Ryan Otley's done just recently. I think it's phenomenal stuff. I think Dale Keown's version of the Hulk is always a classic. Gary Frank did some great stuff. He's just a cool character. So almost everybody that touches him is just, does something awesome with him. He's cool. And it's always fun to draw flying rubble, So.
Yeah, and you can't draw that with Batgirl or Zatanna or a few other characters. But thank you, Max, for starting us off. We're at $275 now with Southern Comic Geek. Thank you for your bid as well. Now, on this one, and I don't know, it all depends on the screen size that everybody's viewing this on. I mean, some people watch these shows on their TV, but your cross hatching is just interesting. The choice and direction and things. So when you're thinking about doing an illustration like this, I mean, are you trying to do it to kind of create contours within the character or the scene when you're doing the cross hatching? Because I just found this, like in this particular instance, just unique how you kind of were going in a certain direction one way and another direction another.
I like cross hatching for texture, but in this instance, and most of the time I use it, it is a textural thing, but it's also a bit of a lighting thing to set him off from that stark black and white background versus the rubble and stuff like that. Just using the cross hatching almost as a gray tone on that central lighting of the figure, it sort of gives a little bit of depth of field for the rubble that's floating around him. Yeah.
Oh, very, very nice. And we had Max come in at 300, and Southern Comic Geek has come back at 325 as the high bid. So
thank you.
Just out of curiosity, what's the time involved in a piece like this for you?
Always longer than I think it should be. I feel like I was telling somebody the other day, I feel like I should be much faster at what I do 25 years into doing this, but I feel like I'm slower than I've ever been. But no, it takes a little while. It takes a little while to do something like this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a couple of hours probably, just from starting to finish. And part of that is I don't get the chance to draw Hulk or some of these characters, a lot, especially Marvel characters and stuff. I don't have time to sit around thinking about them and the different things I could do with them. So sometimes just finding the right composition and stuff like that.
Sure. No, and I was just about going to say, to get the 5-second warning, we got another bid in for Marcus.
Thank you, Marcus.
350. Thank you, Marcus. Yes. But I really enjoyed this one, and I'm always curious. Like I say, I'm trying to, even though I have an art background, I'm trying to find, to understand the reasoning behind certain techniques that creators use as well. That's why every week on the CAF update, I pick 10 pieces to feature, and the other guy picks 10 as well, and we kind of dissect them a little bit about why we like them. And it's been fun because I've learned a lot from the co-host during that segment, but also from the audience, kind of giving their thoughts and opinions as well. So it's just a new way of really appreciating original art collecting. When you're able to kind of we're not critiquing it. But we're giving our reasons for why we like it. And sometimes that, you like a piece of art and you can't quite figure out why. And another guy comes in and they're able to tell you, well, it's the flow, is the thing that works for them. And I'm like, darn it, that's probably why, the piece appeals to me, just from panel to panel to panel. And, so it's been a lot of fun adding that kind of component to the channel. I've learned so much.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a lot of fun. It's always a lot of fun sitting around talking craft with anybody, either even as an observer or as a creator of it, and learning why somebody makes the decisions that they make. And it's really fun to hear some other people's opinions about what you've done. I remember talking to Mignola about that a couple of times, and it's just fun to hear, his reaction to other people's thoughts on his work and stuff like that, trying to figure it out. I think he learned some things from others about why he made decisions that he was making. And I've had that same experience where
Sure.
Sometimes it's just instinctive, and you hear somebody say, oh, well, I like how this happened or that happened. And you kind of go, oh, wow, that wasn't even really my intent, but it really is that way. So yeah, it's fun.
All right. Well, we haven't had any other bids for the last minute and a half or so. So I'm going to go ahead and call this one for Marcus. Thank you very much, Marcus, at $350. That's a
Thanks,
very
Marcus.
nice get. And again, Hero is definitely going to appreciate that as well. So thank you for that. And we've got one more piece to look at. And we're going back to the Black Canary for this final piece. And let me go ahead and show that one off. This is, again, on the 6.5 by 10 Hero Initiative board. And starting bid $250 on this one. So, yep, she's doing what she does best right there, kicking button. You've got the 75 as part of the 75th anniversary incorporated into this piece as well.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a high kicker, all right. She is. Wow, thanks, Marcus. Yeah, she's a she's a great character and fun to draw.
All right, and JC Dutchy is the high bidder at the moment at $600. Thank you, JC.
Thanks, JC.
And yes, and to everyone else who has contributed bids here, Colin and T-Tad, Marcus and Goo. We appreciate that.
No doubt.
Yeah. Oh, and Will K has thrown his hat in the ring at $800. Thank you, Will. Very nice, nice bid there on this piece, and certainly deserving, of course, as well. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, this is one of the characters you can revisit many, often, and everybody kind of clearly enjoys the way you draw the character. And thank you, JC, for your $850 bid.
Thank you. Yeah, she's just I think it's the simplicity of the design, and well, for me, a lot of that is with the characters. There's such a simplicity to it. Wow, thanks, you guys. There's a simplicity to her, and there's a power to her that comes across, and it's a unique thing to be able to have a character that has sort of a resonant feminine beauty, but still also a lot of power to her. And I think she's sort of like epitomizes that for me in a lot of ways.
No, I agree. I mean, you've done her, again, it's back to the composition on this too. I mean, I know, it's just a kind of a classic, karate move or something, but again, it's how you broke up the page and incorporated the 75 in there. And JC Dutchy is now in the lead at 1,025. But it's just fun. I mean, you're presented with a finite space to work in, and coming up with how you fill it is every creator's. And sometimes it can be a nightmare, right? But I'm sure it seems like when you kind of put pen to paper, you're already got a very confident you've got what you want out of it, and I can just feel it. It's like you're not scratching your head about where it's going. Again, this one's really great. I love on this particular piece, kind of like with Batgirl's cape earlier, now her hair being all kind of whited out is just an interesting touch, right? That some people might not have done, but you did it. And Will K is at $1,250 now. Thank you for that, Will.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, she's, that's like, I think that's probably part of the fun again. And that's the beauty of being able to do convention style sketch or something like that, is that you can make choices like leaving something very graphic, where once you're in the midst of continuity and storytelling and stuff like that, it can be hard to just drop something into a graphic image, more so than continuity, and it worked out pretty well, I think, for that piece.
All right. Well, it looks like JC is tapping out. He's already congratulating Will on that. I mean, we'll give everybody 5 seconds on this one before we call it. But I agree with Wes too. It has a little Sin City Frank Miller vibe to it in a way. I mean, at least maybe in technique, in the approach there. And it's probably not even something to think about. It just comes across, and yeah, no, that's I see that as well.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, we're going to call this one for Will K. Thank you so much, Will. This one is going for $1,250. And Will, that's your fourth pickup of the night, because you picked up some early lots as well. So thank you so much for that, Will. We all, Hero Initiative included, appreciate all the bids that you placed today and everybody else placed today. This turned out really well, Ryan. Yeah,
it really did. Thank you all of you for showing up and commenting and bidding. And congratulations, Will. I really appreciate those high bids. It's great stuff for Hero. And wow, thanks for taking the time, Bill. It was fun just chatting comics and.
Oh, heck yeah. No, it was a lot of fun, Ryan. And so for everybody, let me remind everybody about the email address for Nicole. If you haven't emailed her already, please shoot her an email right now, Nicole@thirdeyecomics.com, and let her know which pieces you got. And please include your mailing address as part of that as well. And she will get those invoices out to you ASAP. For, I believe, I think, I can't remember who, Nick or Poop Kid already said that they had emailed Nicole letting us know what the commission request was. But if you haven't already emailed Nick and Poop Kid, whoever hasn't, please email Nicole and myself if you want, bill@comicartfans.com. Let us know what the commission characters are, and we will relay those over to Ryan, and we'll get those done. Ryan is going to mail those in to Third Eye, and Nick and Poop Kid did not win anything else, but they're going to go in to Third Eye so that they can be shipped out from their location as well. So again, get your payments in within 48 hours, please. And then that guarantees that the pieces that were pre-done will go out early this week. You'll have them before Friday or by Friday. And the commissions, after they get to Third Eye, will then be sent out. So I would expect those to be in hand by the middle of the following week at the latest. So again, thank you, Ryan, sincerely for doing this with us. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I appreciate the time that we get to talk to you as well. We need to do these. We could do one of these without a sale and hang out. I mean, I really enjoyed talking to you about your con experiences, those early ones. I mean, that's totally cool, and you probably have a lot of other stories too.
I do have lots of other stories. And Jeff, sorry I didn't get time to talk Legion costume designs. Yes, they were overly complicated. But we can get into that some other time down the road, I hope. But I had fun designing those characters. And actually, a lot of them were simpler earlier on, but they evolved. So anyways, I really appreciate all of you guys spending time with us today. And thank you for the kind words. And I appreciate all that a lot. And I'm glad you could come out today and make it a nice event for Hero, because they deserve the help, and all those artists who benefit from them deserve the help and all your support and everything. So I appreciate it so much. Thanks a lot.
No, here. And again, if you're not familiar with Hero, the URL is right there on the screen. Check them out. There's lots of ways to support them, whether it's in a show like this or through their eBay store, or you can make direct donations to them. A lot of creators at cons have Hero Initiative jars out that you can put donations in. I mean, George Perez used to take donations. He wouldn't pay charge for drawings. He would do free drawings for you as long as you were making donations to Hero. I mean, so a lot of creators have given back their time and energy and efforts, like Ryan did today. And and it goes and it continues on. I mean, I think that Hero is definitely worthy of your attention. And again, Ryan, thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in today, especially on a Saturday afternoon. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time and we'll talk to you, again soon. And Ryan, as always, it was an absolute pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Bye, everybody.